Hey friends, I'm John, your carnivore teacher. You may have heard of Dr. Robert Cywes, the carb addiction doc, suggest that people on a carnivore diet might benefit from adding a little bit of carbohydrates back in to help regulate certain blood markers. I respect Dr. Cywes. He's helped countless people understand carb addiction and metabolic healing. But on this particular idea, the notion that we need to reintroduce carbohydrates to fix insulin suppression, I strongly disagree. Let's unpack why. Number one, insulin suppression isn't dysfunction, it's recovery. When someone eats the proper human diet rich in meat, eggs, and animal fats, their insulin levels naturally drop, and that's not malfunction, that's healing. We evolved for hundreds of thousands of years without regular access to carbohydrates. Humans thrived on periods of fasting, hunting, and fat-fueled energy in that environment. Low, steady insulin was the normal state of metabolic health. Chronically high insulin, not low insulin, is what drives disease. Obesity, type 2 diabetes, PCOS, hypertension, and fatty liver. Suppressing insulin is not harmful. It's restorative. It allows your cells to become sensitive again, which means they respond efficiently when insulin is needed. In other words, low insulin isn't the problem. Insulin resistance is. Point number two. The body makes its own glucose, always. Here's what's often misunderstood. The body doesn't need dietary carbohydrates. Your liver can manufacture all the glucose you need through a process called gluconeogenesis. That means even if you never eat a carb again, your brain, your muscles, and your red blood cells still get the small amount of glucose they require, perfectly regulated by your own internal system. There's no such thing as glucose deficiency. If you were starving in the wilderness and had no carbs for a month, your body would not shut down. It would simply shift gears, burning fat for energy and producing glucose as needed. This is the brilliance of human metabolism. We are built for survival without carbs. I'm going to repeat that. We are built for survival without carbohydrates. Point number three, metabolic flexibility comes from fat adaptation, not carb cycling. Some argue that we need to remind our bodies how to process carbs so we don't lose metabolic flexibility. But here's the truth. Metabolic flexibility doesn't come from periodically eating carbs. It comes from being fat adapted and insulin sensitive. When you're in deep nutritional ketosis, your body efficiently uses fat and ketones for energy. If you do happen to eat a small amount of carbohydrates, your body will handle it just fine. No need to practice or retrain it. True metabolic flexibility means your body can handle both fuels, not that you have to keep spiking insulin to maintain health. It's like saying you should occasionally inhale smoke just to remind your lungs how to handle pollution. That logic falls apart when you understand basic physiology. Point number four, high fasting glucose is a myth on carnivore. Some long-term carnivores notice slightly higher fasting glucose numbers and assume that's bad. But this is known as physiologic insulin resistance, a completely normal adaptation. When you're running primarily on fat and ketones, your muscles downregulate glucose uptake because they don't need it. Your brain gets priority for the little glucose that's produced. That doesn't mean you're insulin resistant in a harmful way. It means your body has switched fuels. Your insulin levels are still low, your inflammation is down, and your HbA1c, your long-term glucose measure, remains excellent. So no. That's not broken metabolism. That's efficient metabolism. Point number five, the evidence of a zero-carb lifestyle. People have lived on zero-carb diets for decades and not only maintained perfect lab markers, but improved them. Studies on ketogenic and carnivore-style diets consistently show lower fasting insulin, reduced inflammation, CRP, improved triglyceride to HDL ratio, lowering HbA1c and fasting glucose, normal thyroid and hormone function when adequate fat and calories are consumed. No study has ever shown a deficiency caused by a lack of dietary carbohydrates. Not one. Number 6, the real problem, under eating fat or protein. If someone's blood markers look off after months or years of low-carb eating, it's almost never because of a lack of carbs. It's because of a lack of nutrients. Maybe they're under eating. Maybe they're avoiding fat out of old habits. Maybe they're not salting their food properly or managing electrolytes, but it's not because they're missing a banana or a handful of berries. The answer is to eat more meat and fat, not to reintroduce sugar. Point number 7, the carnivore advantage. When you eliminate carbohydrates, your mind becomes clear, your energy stabilizes, and your inflammation plummets. You're no longer chasing dopamine hits from sugar. You're in full metabolic control, steady, strong, and focused. Adding carbs back in, even small amounts, can start the slippery slope of craving and addiction again. And that's exactly what Dr. Cywes himself warns about in his other teachings. So let's stay consistent. If carbohydrate addiction is the problem, then total abstinence, not moderation, is the cure. Here's the bottom line. Your body doesn't need dietary carbohydrates. It never has. It's designed to thrive without them. Adding carbs to fix a perceived lab issue is like pouring gasoline on a fire because the flames looked too calm. The solution isn't reintroducing the problem, it's staying the course and allowing your metabolism to fully heal. So with all due respect to Dr. Cywes, we don't need to add carbs back. We need to trust the design of the human body and the power of eating the proper human diet. Meat, fat, salt. That's it. That's health. That's freedom. And if you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share this with friends and family, leave me a question, a comment, a suggestion, an argument that's respectful, and I'll write you back. Thank you for listening and have a good day.